Just huge that you said that, because what works for one child does not work for the next. Even in families, each child in your family is a different person.
And compose yourself and control your impulses.
Right.
And this is learning time. So this is my expectation when it's learning time.
You know, my child bit at school, like he bit another child.
I was just gonna say biting.
Yeah, maybe my child bit at school, but at least the teacher was there and solved the issue and moved on. And
for parents to see, do they really care? Did they hear me?
Right.
Do they really care? Are they gonna do something about it?
And I love when parents bring up a tiny little concern and just say, hey, I noticed this.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm here with Miss Dom.
Hey guys.
I'm Jamie Lou, and today we will be discussing the pros and cons of childcare.
In an older classroom, when they're preschool aged, like you're saying, they get influenced, and it's not always bad. Sometimes it's really great and positive. If your child has a little bit of a speech delay and they're not talking very well at 2.5 years old, but they stay in a school setting and then at 4 years old they're talking up a storm, that's because they're talking to children their own age and they're talking to their teachers constantly. And that's just, one example of speech development. But, it's not always negative. Behaviors are not always negative. They, or maybe they're looking at one of their peers who's sitting in their chair and eating their lunch, and they're normally like standing and walking around, and that's not a bad thing, but it's maybe they're learning from other peers, like, oh, it's lunchtime now, it's time to sit in our chair and it's time to eat our food instead of walking around and playing. And it's just things that come with watching the peers. Even at lunchtime, a lot of the times parents will, like I said previously, well, my child didn't eat their lunch, but if they're sitting with other children and they're eating their lunch, and they think, oh, it's time to eat lunch, let me eat mine, or experiencing different foods.
Yes, and so that's, of course, we depend on our teachers to provide that structure and that expectation for the kids, but as parents, it's up to you if that's what you want. They learn so much in a day with a quality program, with when is the right time that I am supposed to be silly and dance and have fun and jump around and roll around. And when is it time to reel it all in and listen and compose yourself and control your impulses. And this is learning time. So this is my expectation when it's learning time. This is my expectation when I go on the playground. This is my expectation when I am sitting down at lunchtime.
Which is super, super important to have in early childhood, because if your child is going to kindergarten and they've never had that before, they don't know to sit in their chair in kindergarten class in a kindergarten classroom, or they don't know to not run away from their teacher when they're sitting in line walking from the classroom to the cafeteria. It's all things that they learn in a toddler classroom, in a preschool classroom,
and really takes years to practice and
long
learn.
Time.
Every kid is different. Some kids may line up and take all that quite quickly, depending on the child. And some kids just need more time to develop and mature and learn how to self-regulate. And that's okay. The timeline of every child is different, and that's absolutely okay and acceptable. But it's your job as a parent to gauge early on, is my child, do they need child 1, perfect, can start kindergarten at age 5. Oh, child 2, they need way more structure early on. I should start
Which
maybe
is huge
earlier.
that you said that, because what works for one child does not work for the next. Even in families, each child in your family is a different person, and your oldest child might be, the
cookie cutter,
most perfect child who's sitting down, who's listening, who, was talking at a year old. And then your second child might be a little bit more energetic, more personality, more behaviors. And then your third child could be a mix of both. They're all completely different humans, and they need different needs. And also, like we said previously, maybe your first child had a nanny and then your second child was in childcare. And even though, or vice versa, even though you did it this way with your first child, it's not going to work for your second. It might, but at the same time, they're different humans. They need different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's really hard. That's really hard to know and gauge as a parent because, I mean, yes, we are parents, but it's not your only full-time job. You know, we're juggling many things.
Right.
And so there's not a perfect solution for everyone. And it's challenging, but I think our message is just have all that in consideration.
Right.
You're not going to do everything perfect.
Right.
And that's okay. Your child is resilient
Right.
and adaptable. And as long as you provide, love and security and everything, absolutely, they're going to be fine. But if you have that in mind, that's going to drive your intention in how you approach their care, their education, and how you adjust along the way.
Yeah, and making mistakes too. I mean, parents work so hard. They have a full-time job, and then they have a full-time job of raising a child. So you have 2 full-time jobs.
Mistakes are welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes even more. Sometimes parents are working, 2 different jobs. Whatever the case is, like, you're just doing your best at the end of the day. And you sometimes you're like, okay, I know he said this at school, but at least he was there. At least he was loved, and like maybe, my child bit at school. Like he bit another child.
I was just going to say biting.
Yeah, maybe my child bit at school, but at least the teacher was there and solved the issue and moved on, and they ate lunch an hour later and they went to sleep. Like it's just things that as a parent, you can do everything in the book to make your child not bite or not hit or not say this word. You can do everything in your power, but it's still going to happen. And it's not a reflection of the parent.
No.
It's just,
And I think that's just so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard as a parent because you're trying to do it all and you're trying to provide for your family, your child, and everything. And so when you hear about these little hiccups and these challenges, to not allow it to make you feel like a failure as a parent. But no, I mean, it's a journey. These things are going to happen.
Right.
And I think it's a blessing because you have a school, but you have a partner. You have a partner
multiple
in raising.
Partners.
Yes.
You have multiple teachers. You have the school administration. You have, and that's something to really look for in a quality program. Is the director of the school involved in the classroom? Is the teacher involved in your child's life? Are the teachers getting along in the classroom? Like all those different things, because at the end of the day, if you're going through something in your family life, and you need support, your first point of support is your child's teacher or your child's, director of the school. And you need that. You need that kind of support and that community. Because it takes a village to raise
Absolutely,
a child.
It really does. And I think that's what something is so special that we've fostered here and that we work so hard to preserve is this culture of we just really love your kids.
Yeah.
And we really care when they didn't have a good night's sleep last night.
Absolutely.
And we know that's how it's going to impact their day to day.
Right.
And we brace ourselves for it,
right?
And
or
also
even,
give them more,
yes,
because that's what they need,
right? And even if a parent has like a concern, and they just tell us like we have this concern about this happening or this happened at home, or we have this concern that they're not sleeping very well at school, like what can we do? Like asking questions, what can we do to help each other? Like, oh, well, I think, changing the nap time and then he'll sleep better at night. And then, maybe we push the bottle up an hour earlier, or maybe we stop drinking fluids at nap time, things like that. There's so many different things that, you work together and communicate with. If you're just a parent who's going to drop your kid off and leave and you don't stay for a couple extra minutes just to talk about their night at home, then the teachers are going to have no idea how their day is if you don't communicate.
And that's something for parents to know. Teachers want that.
Yes, huge. I mean, even just like, of course, you're in a rush picking your kid up or dropping your kid off. Sometimes we totally get it. But just a really quick, I'm late to work, but I just wanted to let you know that they woke up an hour early and they're probably going to be really crazy today. Yeah. Great. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Like just a tiny little quick snippet of, okay, I know that this one is going to just be a little bit more emotional today. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient with them, because normally they are the first to line up. They're the first to wash their hands. They're the first to do this, but today they might not. And it's really important for the teacher to know things like that. Little
And
snippets.
those little snippets also make teachers feel valued, makes them feel like you are in a partnership with them. And it adds meaning and fulfillment to their role. They want to feel important, and they want to feel like you value them as a partner. And so it's really a beautiful relationship if everyone is working together and in each other's with each other's consideration. Because it's your child. You have to be involved. You have to know all those little things. Yes, we talk about poop and drool and everything, but that's important. Those things are important, and it's such a special bond that is built upon just the love for your child. And so be as involved and be as active in the classroom, and just show the teachers that you appreciate and care for them, because then your child feels that. When your child sees all the people important in their lives, get along and care for them.
Absolutely.
They see that.
Yeah, and that's why it's important for everybody to get along and everyone to be on the same page and communicate. Just having a little bit of a sense of, I understand you, and I am here to support you.
Yes.
Parents and teachers.
And it's an ongoing thing. I know for us as a program, whenever we hear feedback, it is you and I really work hard to come up with solutions to problems.
Yes, absolutely.
It really bothers us when we get feedback, but also in a good way, because we use that constructively to solve problems. And so on the parents, and to understand, hopefully if you trust the administrators and teachers, that they're actively trying and give us time to try to find a solution. And that's a way for parents to see, do they really care? Did they hear me?
Right.
Do they really care? Are they going to do something about it?
And I love when parents bring up a tiny little concern and just say, hey, I noticed this. It's okay, but I just want to let you know that I noticed it. And so me hearing that, it's like, okay, so then they're seeing things from the outside, as little or as big as it may be. Let's fix it. Let's work as quick as possible and as diligently as possible to fix the problem, so that it works for everybody. Everything is you can drop your child off and feel comfortable.
And that little thing, other parents may have noticed it and may not have said anything. But if a parent brings it forward in a constructive and positive way, because it's like, you're bringing it up because I want your lives to be easier. Yes. I want it better. I want it to be better. It's going to benefit all the kids in the class. Right. If this thing was, addressed, that's us working together.
Absolutely.
You can bring it up in a way so that's mutually beneficial. Absolutely. As opposed to, bringing it up in not as a constructive way. Then that's going to put a damper on the teacher's day and not allow them to feel valued, and it's going to affect their job. Right. And so we're working together always.
And it's also important to note that if a parent does bring up a concern at any school, and if they just say, okay, thank you for letting me know, and then never address it and never fix the problem, that's a huge red flag. That means that, there's other things that are probably going on that you don't know about.
Absolutely.
If a parent brings, as little as it may be, if there's the tiniest little annoyance, let's fix it, so that, because we value the parents, and we would hope that the parents value us. And we value their input. And teachers too, if teachers have a tiny little or a big thing that they just want to address, it's important to address it, no matter how big or small it is, and fix the problem. And even if you don't have a perfect solution, you at least you're working towards the solution, or you have a tiny tweak, to make everyone's lives easier.
And it's a journey. It's adjusting little by little and seeing what works and doesn't work. And so I think at the end of the day, it's really important to, when you're thinking about childcare and whether it's a good fit or not, you're going to shop around and see, you're going to feel it out and see where you get the good vibes and good feelings. Like, this is where my child is going to thrive. Look at these vibrant teachers. Look at their energy. Look at how they're smiling and connecting with each other.
And also knowing that your first option may not be the right fit for you. And it's okay to change your mind.
Yes.
But just making sure that, like you're saying, you have that good feeling for
Yes.
you
And
your
so
child.
really it could be a wonderful experience. So it's all about finding the right fit. And if it turns out to not be a great experience, the parents have to evaluate whether is it the setting or is it just, me and my family's needs, whether it's what I want for my child.
Right. Totally agree.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was so fun, Dom. I feel like we could chat about this all day. I feel like a lot of the things we discuss absolutely resonate with a lot of the families out there. So please, if you have anything to share, feel free to chime in and comment below. We'd love to open up the dialogue with the community.
Yeah.